Not all slashers wear masks. Some hide in plain sight. These overlooked horrors slice with precision, crawling under your skin before you even realize you're bleeding. Brutal, quiet, and disturbingly real, these 10 slashers will leave you checking every dark corner. Number 10. Hellfest. Number 9. Last Straw.
Did you hear anything I just said?
Yep. You're here all by yourself.
No!
Trapped in a desolate roadside diner, Nancy Osborne's night shift becomes a waking nightmare when masked intruders descend on the isolated building. Directed by Alan Scott Neal, Last Straw strips away comfort and control, plunging viewers into a gritty, blood-soaked siege. Jessica Belkin delivers a harrowing performance as a pregnant waitress forced to outwit and survive a brutal assault that begins after a volatile confrontation with a co-worker. But the true terror emerges not just from the violence, but from the revelation that the attackers were hiding in plain sight. With tight, claustrophobic tension and moments of primal ferocity, the film paints a bleak portrait of small-town betrayal and desperation. Number 8. Bloodline. By day, Evan Cole is a soft-spoken guidance counselor and new father. By night, he's a meticulous executioner with a strict moral code. Directed by Henry Jacobson, Bloodline slithers into the mind of a man who believes violence is justified if it's done for the right reasons. With every calculated kill, Evan's dual life begins to fray. His clean suburban world stained by secrets and blood. The film pulses with a cold, clinical style, drawing comparisons to American Psycho, with its blend of domestic calm and shocking brutality. Sean William Scott delivers a disturbingly restrained performance, his quiet demeanor masking something far more sinister. What makes Bloodline haunting isn't just the murders, but it's the legacy of violence passed from one generation to the next. Number 7. Wilderness. Banished to a remote island as punishment, a group of juvenile delinquents expect discipline, but instead they find death. In Wilderness, directed by Michael J. Bassett, nature becomes the executioner, and something more ruthless than justice hunts them from the trees. The boys, each marked by past cruelty and guilt, are forced into survival mode as they're stalked by a hooded figure unleashing trained killer dogs and cruel traps across the unforgiving forest. With every scream echoing through the dense wilderness, the line between punishment and vengeance disintegrates. This is not just a slasher, it's a descent into primal terror, where the sins of the past return with claws and teeth. Number 6. New Nightmare. Reality fractures when the nightmare refuses to stay on screen. In this film, director Wes Craven resurrects Freddy Krueger not in dreams, but in the real world, where he haunts the cast and crew of the original Nightmare on Elm Street films. Heather Langenkamp plays herself, tormented by eerie visions, phone calls, and the creeping presence of a darker, more primal Freddy, one born not from scripts, but from ancient evil feeding on fear. As the boundary between fiction and reality collapses, it becomes a terrifying meta-horror, where no one is safe, not even the audience. Craven crafts a story where the story itself becomes the monster and belief is the key to survival. Number 5. Totally Killer. The past has teeth and it's chasing her. In Totally Killer, Jamie Hughes is thrust back to 1987, the year a masked killer known as the Sweet 16 Slasher began his rampage. Directed by Nahnatchka Khan, this blood-soaked time travel horror blends 80s nostalgia with sharp-edged suspense as Jamie races to prevent her mother's teenage friends from being murdered one by one, but changing the past has its own rules and deadly consequences. What makes it truly chilling is how the killer adapts, always one step ahead and always smiling beneath the mask. Number 4. The Golden Glove. In the filth-choked alleys of 1970s Hamburg, horror doesn't wear a mask. It reeks of rot and walks on 2 legs. The Golden Glove, directed by Fatih Akin, plunges into the grotesque life of Fritz Honka, a disfigured alcoholic loner who lures desperate women to his decaying apartment above a seedy pub. Based on the real-life serial killer, the film is an unflinching descent into the stench of human depravity. The horror here isn't stylized, it's stained with nicotine, soaked in booze and buried in floorboards. With every creaking step and drunken leer, the viewer is dragged deeper into Fritz's foul, suffocating world. Number 3, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Every legend has an origin, but Leslie Vernon wants to write his in blood. In this clever and chilling mockumentary, directed by Scott Glosserman, a documentary crew follows Leslie, a charming young man training to become the next iconic slasher. Set in a world where Freddy, Jason, and Michael are real, the film peels back the mask to reveal the meticulous planning, psychological manipulation, and dark philosophy behind the making of a monster. What begins as satire soon spirals into genuine terror as the crew realizes they're not just filming a killer, but they're enabling him. Number 2, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. In the backwoods of Appalachia, blood spills for all the wrong reasons. Director Eli Craig flips the slasher formula on its head and revealing that the so-called hillbilly murderers are actually two kind-hearted guys just trying to enjoy a quiet weekend. When a group of paranoid college students stumbles into the woods, a series of grisly misunderstandings unfolds, each more violent and absurd than the last. What makes this horror comedy truly chilling is how quickly perception becomes reality, and how fear twists innocent acts into scenes of slaughter. As bodies pile up and panic spreads, the film digs into the dark absurdity of prejudice and paranoia. Number 1, Cure. A city plagued by brutal, senseless murders, each committed by someone different and each with no memory of the act. But this isn't a typical slasher. It's a slow, hypnotic descent into psychological horror, where the real weapon is suggestion, and the human mind is the most terrifying killer. Detective Takabe investigates a string of killings, each marked by the same cryptic symbol, each tied to a mysterious drifter with a gift for erasing identity and planting chaos. The horror here doesn't scream, but it whispers. And what makes it truly disturbing is the suggestion that anyone under the right influence can become a murderer, and that the real slasher hides in the silence between thoughts. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. Cherry Falls. A serial killer targets virgins in the quiet town of Cherry Falls, turning the quest for first time into a terrifying game of survival. As teens try to stay occupied, a sheriff and his daughter race against time to crack the twisted logic behind the murders. The film blends slasher thrills with dark humor, forcing its characters to confront innocence in the most horrific way. The Hunt.
Hey! Put him in the back with the...
A group of strangers wakes up in a remote clearing, unaware they've been kidnapped to participate in a deadly sport. With relentless action and satirical bite, the film flips power dynamics and questions who the real predators are. What starts as survival horror becomes a brutal commentary on manipulation and class warfare. All the boys love Mandy Lane. Popular high schooler Mandy becomes the object of fascination and death for a group of classmates at a secluded ranch. But the anticipated slasher turns into a twist-laden nightmare as true intentions are revealed. With languid visuals and creeping dread, the film subverts teen horror cliches, proving that jealousy and obsession can be more deadly than any masked killer. Hard Eyes. On Valentine's Day, advertising exec Allie and marketing prodigy Jay find themselves mistaken for a couple by the masked Hard Eyes killer who slaughters romantic pairs. Josh Rubin's romantic comedy slasher hybrid balances graphic kills with playful banter as the duo must survive while navigating awkward chemistry amid bloodshed.